World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
This is World News in 5 here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Russian President Vladimir Putin invited United States President Donald Trump to Moscow. According to the Kremlin, Putin made the invitation following the two leaders' phone call on Wednesday where they discussed ending the war in Ukraine, the situation in the Middle East, and the two countries' bilateral relations. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the two leaders agreed to meet in the future and to continue personal contacts. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office following his phone conversation with Putin, Trump said the Russian leader expressed desire to end the nearly 3-year-old war in Ukraine, adding that he, Putin, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky were on the way to getting peace. Aside from Putin, Trump had also a phone call with Zelensky on the same day. Zelensky, in a post on his social media account, described his conversation with Trump meaningful, saying the two of them discussed opportunities to achieve peace and readiness for collaboration. Trump has pledged during his campaign that he would immediately stop the war between Ukraine and Russia without detailing how he would end it. On Wednesday, Trump said that U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Central Intelligence Agency Director John Ratcliffe, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Middle East Envoy Steve Witkoff would lead negotiations on ending the Ukraine conflict. In our news, Israel has ordered its military reservists to prepare for a possible continuation of the Gaza war if the militant group Hamas fails to release further Israeli hostages on Saturday. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz made the order after Hamas announced that it would suspend the release of Israeli hostages until further notice, as it accused the Israeli side of violating the Gaza ceasefire deal. It also comes as U.S. President Donald Trump warned that he would let hell break out in Gaza if all of the hostages were not freed by noon on Saturday. Speaking at the defense headquarters in Tel Aviv, Katz said the ceasefire was meant to bring the swift release of hostages held in harsh conditions, and if Hamas stops the release of them, there would be a war. He also warned that the re-eruption of the Gaza conflict will be in another intensity and will allow the realization of Trump's vision for Gaza. Katz is referring to Trump's recent remarks suggesting a permanent resettlement of Gazans elsewhere and the U.S. takeover of the Palestinian enclave. Trump's proposal dented the furtherance of the ceasefire deal reached in January. In announcing the suspension of the Israeli hostages release on Monday, Hamas said it made 5 days before the Saturday deadline so mediators could pressure Israel to uphold its ceasefire obligations and keep the door open for the exchange to take place on time. Hamas spokesperson Hazayem Kazem in a statement said the group will not accept the language of Americans and Israeli threats, adding that contacts are underway with mediator countries to conclude the implementation of the ceasefire deal. Since the implementation of the first phase of the ceasefire deal last month, Hamas has freed 16 out of 33 hostages, while Israel has released 656 Palestinian prisoners out of nearly 2,000 it arrested. For Philippine Embassy and Consular News, the Philippine Embassy in Seoul recently held its first financial literacy seminar for overseas Filipino workers or OFWs in South Korea for 2025, an advocacy anchored on the Philippine government's push toward further empowering the Filipino community with essential financial tools. The event, entitled Financial Management, Entrepreneurship, and Investment Seminar, provided OFWs with guidance on personal finance, investment opportunities, and developing entrepreneurial skills. Two prominent financial experts, Mr. Chinky Tan, known as the Pambansang Wealth Coach and Chink Positive, and Reverend Dr. Ariel Bernardo, a multi-awarded OFW and Huwarang OFW coach, led the seminar focusing on topics like Pinoy cultural syndrome in handling money and personal financial management strategies. In her welcome remarks, Ambassador Maria Teresa Dizon de Vega emphasized the importance of financial literacy and entrepreneurship for the Filipino community in South Korea and highlighted that the seminar is part of the Embassy Speak Pinoy program, a collaborative effort of the Philippine Embassy in Seoul, Migrant Workers Office or MWO, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA, Philippine Agriculture Office or PAO, and the Philippine Trade and Investment Center or PTIC in Seoul to provide entrepreneurship and reintegration options for OFWs in South Korea. She encouraged participants to apply what they learned to manage their finances better and protect themselves from scams or misleading get-rich-quick schemes. During the Q&A session, attendees engaged with the speakers about their own financial challenges, seeking practical advice on how to improve their financial management and achieve their personal goals. The program was concluded by MWO Officer in Charge Manolo Barotilla with the message that the seminar is an important part of the Embassy's broader effort to equip OFWs with the tools they need to succeed financially and make informed decisions about their futures. Following the event's success, the Embassy signaled its plan to conduct future training, Know Your Rights and Responsibilities sessions, and seminars under the Peak Pinoy program. And that concludes today's edition of World News in 5. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Win Peñano. Good day.
World News in 5.
Right now.
News and developments making headlines around the world in 5 minutes. World News in 5. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.